Have you ever felt it? You know, that sense that there's an invisible law, a silent code that's running everything. It governs the dance of electrons inside an atom, the grand waltz of galaxies. And here's the wild part. That very same code is running you. Your thoughts, your emotions, your destiny, it's all part of the program.
But what if I told you that the entire code, this vast cosmic program, is written in just 7 lines? Just 7 principles that, once you understand them, can make you the master of your own reality. For centuries, this knowledge was a secret, passed down only in whispers. It's called the Kybalion. It's the master key to the universe. And in this explainer, well, we're putting that key right in your hands.
Okay, so here's our journey. First, we'll look at the secret origins of this wisdom. Then, we're going to hit the single most important principle, the foundation for everything else. After that, we'll unpack the 7 principles themselves, the actual blueprint of reality. Then we get to the fun part, how to actually use them through something called mental alchemy. And finally, we'll see how all of this leads to you becoming the master of your own universe. So, where did all this come from? Well, the trail leads back to this mysterious, almost legendary figure, known to the ancient Egyptians as Thoth, and to the Greeks as Hermes Trismegistus, which means Hermes the Thrice Great. Now, this isn't a religion. You gotta think of it more like an operating system for reality. It's a set of universal laws that work whether you believe in them or not, just like gravity.
So why was this stuff kept secret for so long? Simple, because it's incredibly powerful. The Kybalion itself says that wisdom's lips are closed to those who aren't ready to understand. I mean, think about it. In the wrong hands, this operating system could be a pretty dangerous weapon. So it was hidden, tucked away in symbols and stories, just waiting for the people who were truly ready to listen.
All right, let's get into the first of the 7 principles. And this is the absolute cornerstone of the entire philosophy. Seriously, all the other principles spring from this one fundamental truth. It's called the principle of mentalism, and it changes, well, everything. So what in the world does that mean? It means the entire universe, everything we see, touch, and experience as physical is actually a mental creation. It's all existing within the mind of a single, universal consciousness, what the Kybalion calls the all. Think of it like this. When you dream, you create an entire world, right, with people and places that feel completely real, but it's all just happening inside your own mind. The Kybalion suggests our waking reality is kind of like that. It's a massive, shared dream happening in one universal mind. Okay, so if the universe is mental, how does it work? What are the rules inside this cosmic mind? That is where the 7 principles come in. These are the functional laws that govern this whole mental reality. Let's break them down one by one. This principle is beautiful. It reveals this incredible harmony across every level of life. It basically means the patterns repeat everywhere. The structure of a tiny atom looks a whole lot like a solar system. The veins in a leaf look just like a river delta seen from space. So here's the big takeaway for you. This principle tells us that by understanding your own inner world, your thoughts, your emotions, you can understand the grand workings of the entire cosmos. To know yourself is to know the universe. You know, modern physics has totally confirmed what these ancient teachers knew thousands of years ago. Solid matter is just an illusion. Everything, and I mean everything, from a rock to a thought, is just energy vibrating at different frequencies. A rock, that's just energy vibrating really, really slowly. Your thoughts, energy vibrating much, much faster. Think about a fan. When it's off, you can see the individual blades. But crank it up to full speed and the blades vanish into a blur. They're not gone. Their vibration just got too fast for your eyes to see. Everything is in motion, all the time. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. This principle tells us that opposites, they don't really exist. They're just 2 extremes of the exact same thing. Heat and cold, not different things. They're just different degrees on one single scale called temperature. It's the same for love and hate or courage and fear. They're all one thing. And what this means, brilliantly, is that if you find yourself at one end of the pole, you can actually learn to slide your way to the other. This one is all about the natural cycles in the universe. Everything, and I mean everything, operates like a pendulum. A swing to the right is always followed by a swing to the left. Day is followed by night. Success is followed by failure, which is then followed by success again. You can't avoid this rhythm. A wise person doesn't fight the swing. They don't get super attached to the highs or totally devastated by the lows. Instead, when they're in a downswing, they prepare for the inevitable upswing. They learn to use the momentum, like a surfer riding a wave instead of getting crushed by it. This one sounds simple, but it's incredibly profound. It completely gets rid of the idea of chance or luck or coincidence. Nothing is random. Every single thing that happens is an effect that came from a prior cause, which was itself the effect of a cause before it, stretching back in this infinite chain. We might not see all the hidden causes, but trust me, they are always there. And finally, we have the principle of gender. Now, right away, this has absolutely nothing to do with physical gender. It's all about two fundamental energies that are present in everything. You have the masculine principle, that's the active, assertive, giving force. It's the will. Think of it as the seed. Then you have the feminine principle. This is the receptive, creative, nurturing force. It's the imagination. This is the soil. And for anything to be created, from a star in the sky to a new idea in your head, both of these energies have to come together. So, we have all this theory, but what's the practical application? I mean, how do we use this stuff? This is where we get to the amazing art of mental transmutation, or alchemy. See, the ancient alchemists weren't just trying to turn physical lead into gold. That was a metaphor. They were talking about transforming their own mental states, turning the heavy lead of fear into the shining gold of courage. So how do you actually do this? You use the principles together in a process, a kind of mental alchemy. First, you have to truly accept that your reality is mental, which means you can change it with your thoughts. Second, you consciously raise your vibration. This isn't some abstract idea. It means actually doing things to shift your energy, like putting on music that pumps you up, focusing on what you're grateful for, or just getting out in nature. It's about deliberately moving from a low state like anger to a high one like joy. Third, you use the principle of polarity. You deliberately shift your mental focus from the negative end of a scale, like a feeling of poverty, to its opposite pole, abundance. Fourth, you learn to neutralize the swing of rhythm. This means you watch life's ups and downs without letting them jerk you around. You become the calm center of the storm. And finally, you put it all together to stop being a passive effect and start being a conscious cause in your own life. When you start combining all these ideas, a fundamental shift happens in how you experience life. You literally move from being a pawn on the chessboard, just getting moved around by external forces, to becoming the player, the one who decides the moves. So let's look at this. Are you the effect, or are you the cause? The pawn is an effect. They're totally governed by the outer world, their moods, their environment, what other people say. They just react to whatever happens to them. They're a victim of that pendulum swing. But the player is a cause. They understand that real control comes from governing their inner world. By controlling their own thoughts and vibrations, they create new circumstances. They've become a master of the swing, using the law instead of being used by it. And this brings us to this absolutely beautiful paradox that just sums it all up. The drop is in the ocean. Right. That means we're a tiny part of this infinite universal mind, and that's humbling. But the second part is what's so empowering, and the ocean is in the drop. This means that within each and every one of us, we contain the entire essence of that universal mind. We are miniature universes, holding all the same potential and all the same power. The principles of truth are 7, and according to the Kybalion, anyone who knows these possesses the magic key that opens all the doors to the temple of knowledge. You now have that key. You understand how it works. So the only question left is, what doors are you going to open? What reality will you unlock?